Hi, everyone. Lisa Haven here. Well, a ton of things are happening on biblical prophecy side that I wanted to bring to your attention because it seems as if all kinds of chaos is breaking out, from wars to rumors of wars to the trade issue that's happening with China and China implementing their social credit score, to cashless societies in Australia, to Netflix, to all kinds of things rising, to the silencing and downright, persecution of Christianity. So in today's report, I wanted to bring on my good friend, David Hevner. Are you with me over there?
Hey, Lisa, I'm with you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited about the TV series. Any updates on that real quick?
Yeah, we're shooting on the weekends. We're doing all the establishings. We're going to be shooting your part in the next 30 to 60 days. It's happening, Lisa. And I tell you what, it's none too soon, because everything that's going on that you just mentioned, it's actually really happening. In other words, Last Evangelist is about cashless society, is about the mark of the beast, the Antichrist, and it's all coming down right now. It's unbelievable.
So speaking of, I know The Last Evangelist, people want to check that out. I'll leave a link below, but tell me, I know you've kind of been really studying it hardcore because of the series. What's going on? How are we nearing the biblical end times?
Well, absolutely, and we are. First of all, to have a one world government, which is what we're going to have, and a one world religious system, you pretty much have to have a one world language. There's a couple of things, Lisa, I want people to pay attention to. They are really, really insisting and urging Prime Minister Netanyahu in Israel to campaign in English. I mean, what in the world is going on? To campaign in a language that basically is a second or third language that they speak? That's number one. Number two, there's an app, and I don't want to promote it, but I have to tell you the name of it. It's called Babbel. And this app says that it'll teach you to speak a language within 20 minutes. Now, Lisa, here's the thing. If it can have you speak any language, wouldn't it make sense that if the one world government, the Illuminati, the deep state says we want a specific language to happen, this app could have you do it in 20 minutes, okay? One world language. Number two, the trade war. You know, everyone is thinking, and I was too, that this trade war is all about trying to get America the best deal. But really what's happening is this trade war is just a part that's being played out in order to get China and America to merge together, to get the biggest nations to merge together, because we have to do this for this one world government, Lisa. So that's two. And let me give you the third one. They just announced that as of next year, they're going to start implementing this cashless society in Australia. That's pretty heavy stuff.
So from a one world order to a one world currency to a cashless society, these obviously all play major roles in biblical prophecy. And you brought up China and the trade war. Let's just take China in general, because I see what's happening in China, and I can see it as a precursor to some of the things that we're probably going to experience on a more global scale, not just in China, but outside of China and even here in America. So right now, when I recall, China, you can't talk against the government. You can't be a Christian. Their churches have to put up pictures of Xi Jinping and basically worship the Xi Jinping image, which is causing many to go underground. Their names, their profiles, their faces are all being scanned in just for attending church on a Sunday morning, or whatever morning they go, Sunday here anyway. But and then in addition to that, we have persecution, people being rounded up into re-education centers, and we have social score. Now, do you foresee something like that coming to America as we near these biblical end times?
Absolutely. I want you to think of this trade war as part of a large mall, okay? If the United States is a store inside the mall, and China is another store, and Russia and these nations are inside of a big mall, okay? The mall has rules and laws and regulations. When you're in a mall and you're in a store in a mall, you adhere to what the overall rules and regulations are. And what is that? You just hit the nail on the head. In China, you have your social score, you have persecution, mass persecution when it comes to Christianity. And we could go down the list. A lot of people know what that is. In order for America to cut deals with China, we're going to have to start adhering to some of their laws. And I can tell you right now, one of the laws we have here in the States, people say, well, we don't have a social score. Really? A lot of times, if you tell someone that your credit score is not any good, do you know how they look at you sometimes? I mean, there's going to come a time you can't rent a car. Obviously, you can't buy a house. So it's already happening. It's just happening in a different way and coming in through the back door.
Well, I think it's definitely happening online. Like, for example, we are scored. While it's not public information, Google's not publishing it. They're giving a trustworthy score is what they call it, or something of that nature, where you get a higher score and they promote your news. You get a lower score and they demote your news. Reasons for being demoted, according to them, is simply for being a conservative, a Christian, a patriot, a Trump supporter, love of guns, anything that has to do with Republican values, Christian values, and conservative values. So I'm automatically negative some odd, and CNN, MSNBC get pushed to the forefront. This is a credit score online, a social score online at 100%. So I think we're already there as far as online is concerned. And obviously we have our credit score, which is a version of that. But I think they could definitely take it one step further. I mean, had Mao or Stalin or Hitler been alive today, they certainly would have done a lot of these things. But I think first and foremost, we see us heading fast into end times biblical prophecy. So how much time do you think we have?
Oh, wow. Well, let me tell you, if the train keeps going this fast and speeds up the way it is, Lisa, all I can say is Jesus said, watch. Matthew 24, he gave us signs we need to look at. One of the things he talked about was famines. And I want to bring this up. It's very important. Have you all thought about these fires in the Amazon? I mean, is that kind of bizarre to you?
Before you go on, though, about the Amazon fires, I think a lot of it is a show right now, because there are fires in the Amazon. It's not uncommon, and they're using this as kind of a ploy to global warming. Just my personal, we might disagree on that one. I know for the most part, but...
No, I don't disagree with you on that. I think they are. But I want you to watch these fires, and I want you to keep a close eye on, because if the fires get to the point of the tipping point, which means it starts affecting not the global warming, but the no rainfall, okay? In other words, no water, okay? I'm not, the global warming thing, I don't even touch that. I think it's...
It's a hoax. Yeah. We all know that. We agree there.
But I will tell you that the famine that Jesus talked about in the Bible, one of the reasons you have a famine is not because it's so hot. It's because you don't have any water. Okay, so the CO2, the chain reaction of the CO2, which I don't want to get into right now, but with the burning of this Amazon, if it continues and gets bigger and bigger, it will affect the rainfall, and the rainfall will affect the growing of the plants and the animals and so forth. This could tie into the famine that Jesus is talking about. Lisa, I look at everything from the Bible, you know that, and so do you. And then we look at current events. So that's another thing that really is at the top of my list. Then the last. Well,
I'll add to famines, because we are seeing some of that. I mean, if we think what happened to our corn production here in the United States of America, we have the trade war that's going to add to the food supply, but we have our corn that was severely, basically with the massive floods here in the U.S., farmers didn't even plant crops this year. Like, they just totally called it quits. So not only that, but we also have the pork, what was that, pig Ebola. There's another name and I'm blanking on it, but it's the nickname is Piggy Bull. But we have all that happening in countries in Asia. And yes, it's capable of spreading here, causing our pork to go up as well. And obviously corn is in dog food, it's in animal food, it's in a lot of products. So that's going to have a ripple effect and definitely has some repercussions in the end. Not to mention we have India. And I mean, there's a lot of chaos going in the world. So I definitely see that as a player as well.
Absolutely. And, we talk about the famine and people go, okay, so there's famine. What does that mean? Well, you mentioned it. You've got the the GMO thing. You've got all of what's happening, what the deep state is doing, the one world government. This all plays into the Antichrist, the mark of the beast. You see, you won't be able to buy or sell unless you take that mark. Now, we won't get into that on this show, but we will agree as Christians that the scripture does say that we have to make a deal with someone, the one world government, in order to survive. Well, folks, we're not going to make that deal if we have plenty of stuff out there we can go get. But if there's a famine and there's this food has disease in it, which has been strategically planted, a lot of people are going to be running, hey, where do I sign? Where do I sign up? I want to make sure I can buy and sell and eat.
Yeah, an unfortunate part is, this is something that we knew, biblically speaking, is headed our direction. Do you think we'll see a lot of that in our lifetime?
Yes, I think. Okay, I'm going to say something that I haven't said before. I think that we're going to be seeing everything we're talking about coming to a head in my lifetime, in your lifetime, in the next span of 5 years. Okay. And here's why. And I don't want to bring a new chapter into our show here, but depending on what happens in 2020, okay, that election, I'll give it that next 4 years to play out. Now, what I think is going to happen isn't going to be the best thing that's going to happen. So that's why I say 5 years. You got another year till 2020, which, by the way, we're going to have that ID, the 2020 real ID, right? Which takes our privacy. Then you got 4 years after that. I think in this 4 year period, you're going to see all this stuff come to a head and play out. We as Christians need to watch. We need to buckle up. We need to get ready, get right with God.
Well, I say amen to that. But any final thoughts, and then share all the information for The Last Evangelist and all of that as well.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, my final thought is called deplatforming. This is what you had mentioned this earlier about the censorship. So Lisa, they're trying to deplatform you and me, okay, and other people. Once they become successful at that, the people out there, your audience, my audience, won't be able to get this information. So we need to really be awake and really pray against the evil one coming against God's people, getting the word out there. So that's deplatforming. And then I want to finalize by saying I have a Last Evangelist hat right here. Let me put it on and see. So if you go to lastevangelist.com, and I want you guys to go because I got a special on these hats. I got T-shirts and everything. Sign the newsletter. We're making this TV series just on your donation. We are now shooting on the weekends. We'll have it finished by the end of the year. Please go to lastevangelist.com. If God leads you, donate. That's how we're doing it. And I appreciate it. God bless you.
Awesome. And I wish I had my hat now. It's in the other room. I should grab it.
I know. And Lisa, I want to tell them, too, that you and I have a new show on Roku. We talk about things like we're talking about now. They can go to davidheavener.tv and they can catch us on Roku, too. And by the way, if you go to Roku, you'll be able to see Lisa with her hat on. I've got a show where you're wearing a hat.
Awesome. I know. That's true. So check it out, and I'll put it all in the description box below for you guys so you can find that information there. You can see my little boy back there, my Dietzel. He's on that side.
Diesel's got a hat too.
All right. I love you all, and thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, and that was David Heavener signing out.